Welcome back, everyone. This is MandoAllDay back with another video, and in this video I'll be doing an overview of Green Lantern Alan Scott. This is from the McFarlane Collector's Edition, my first one. This is going to be from the Day of Vengeance storyline. I'll be talking about the figure itself in terms of the articulation, sculpture, and paint, and if it's worth your purchase or not. Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button to know how to support the channel, but to keep up to date and watch videos like this. So let's take a look at the box. This side, which I like how these have it numbered right there, so number 2. The back. The other side. Top. And a bottom. Now I gotta say, I do like this whole presentation for the Collector's Edition. I mean, I like this very thick on here. It says McFarlane Collector's Edition. And I gotta say, these Collector Edition boxes, they do look nice in terms of the boxing. They are presented very well. I like the actual card holder, and the card itself is presented right in front as opposed to in the back. So, in terms of execution and presentation of the McFarlane Collector's Edition, I gotta say, McFarlane did a really good job because overall it looks good. And the cool thing is, like I said, it is numbered. So, if you are a box collector, well, you can have it here like this and then showing the number on there. Alright? Now let's take a look at the figure outside the box. As always, it do come with a card. This is the front of the card looks like. The back of the card. And I gotta say, same thing with the box. I gotta say with the card too, the presentation is nice. You got a little foil right there on the top. Obviously the background's different, as well as the front. They're different in terms of the actual card itself. You can see McFarlane Collector's Edition. So there is an attempt to at least make the purchase for this particular line worth it, because these are more expensive than the regular one, which we'll talk about in a bit. It does come with a card holder, so you can see on there, typical card holder we've seen, and it's just essentially black with a little bit of silver. Looks pretty cool. And of course, the card goes on just like so. Booyah. Easy peasy. Have it to the back. It does come with some accessories. It does come with an actual Green Lantern. Clear green. Looks nice. And it does kind of move around a little bit. Not a whole lot, but something. And a fire punch where you can actually put the hand inside. Like that. And it's just green, as you can see. And of course, it comes with a regular puck stand. But I gotta say, at least McFarlane's trying to do something a little different, because the puck itself, it's your typical puck, but it does have the DC logo that is painted like a grayish color. So, very subtle changes, but I gotta give credit though, because the typical pucks are just regular black with the DC on it. At least there's something different with this particular line. So, I'll give McFarlane that. Now let's talk about the articulation. So, head articulation. Left, right, it's good. Up, down, it's fine. It's a little stiff right now, but it's fine. Shoulder, bicep, elbows. All right, wrist. If I can figure out, yeah, there we go. Wrist articulation, torso articulation, which is pretty darn good actually, and of course swivel itself. So in terms of the articulation of the upper body, I gotta say it's good. It's actually darn good. And it's not even that stiff. The head is a little stiff, but everything else is perfectly fine. Leg articulation. Knees. Okay, never mind. These are pretty darn stiff, but it does articulate. Ankles. And of course, toes itself. So overall, the articulation of this figure is actually good. It's pretty darn good. And I'm liking it because, well, let's talk about the figure itself. And right away, the head sculpture design looks really nice. First off, you got the face sculpture design. You get the mask on, that purple mask, or dark purple mask. And it does have that bright white eyes, which I like. You know me with white eyes. Nice hair sculpture design. My camera can pick it up. We've seen it before, similar to another one, which I'll show you guys in a bit. But the hair sculpture is very defined, very texture-like feel, but it looks good. Same with that grin on his face, the painted lips. The lips aren't painted that much, but it still looks good nonetheless. Also, too, right here as well. It reminds me like a vampire. to make fun of me. But I gotta give credit though, because at least it painted inside and the outside is actually a different color. So the outside is purple, inside is green. I'm bringing this up is because, well, when I talk about the price, you'll see what I'm referring to. But overall, the head sculpture design, it's a good, clean looking Alan Scott head sculpture design. It does look similar to Hal Jordan, but overall, it looks good. In terms of the upper body, it's a very clean, plain looking upper body. Just shoulder piece on there, bicep and tricep, again, just red. You got a little bit of a look to it right here. I don't know, sculpture design. Same thing over here, little sculpture design there. But for the most part though, in terms of the actual upper body itself, it's just a clean, plain looking Alan Scott, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. But if you're looking for more like super texture-like type of thing, this is not it. But it looks good though. You got the Green Lantern on his chest on there, which looks nice. Very defined abdomen. Then you got the little buttons on here. I don't know what they're called. And of course, the cape. The cape looks good. Very clean looking cape. Again, reminds me like a vampire because it goes around like that. But I will say though that I like about this is going to be the fact that it's actually two paint. Inside is green. Look at that. Bright, bright green. But the backside is purple, which I'll talk about in the price and I'll compare it to another figure. So overall though, I gotta say the upper body, oh, there's a green ring right there. You can see that right there. Which, it's a bit strange that this has it on his right arm because the card itself, it's on his left hand. But yet, on the figure, it's on the right. It's not a bad thing or deal breaker, but it's one of those like, McFarlane, come on. Like, if you're going to show a picture with him having the green ring on his left hand, at least be consistent with that. But apart from that though, overall the upper body, I gotta say it's a good looking Alan Scott figure. Very clean, plain looking, like I said, on the upper body. But I gotta admit that paint difference in terms of the cape, it looks really, really good. And I like how it's a bright, or not bright, but brighter red compared to the other one, which I'll show you guys in a bit. But overall, the upper body, I think it looks really good. And I can't hate on it, man. It's a good looking Alan Scott. The belt just matte black with a little bit of a gold on there. And the lower body, it's very clean looking, very defined. Thighs on there, very muscular thighs. No glutes, well not a whole lot of glutes, but something I guess. And in terms of legs, very clean looking. But the boots itself though does have a sculpture design here, similar to the other one right there. But though, I like about this is it actually is painted. Because the other one right here, which I'll compare it in a bit, it's not really painted. It's just there for sculpture, but that's it. This, on the other hand, it actually is painted. So, and it does stand out in a good way because it's a nice gold. And so when you have light on it, it does pop and make the boots really look really nice. And so, subtle things like this, like the paint here, I know it costs more to manufacture because, again, you can build a sculpture design, not a problem. But painting the red boot and also to the sculpture, it costs more. So at least you know where your money's going into in terms of this particular figure. And there's feet as well too. So overall though, I gotta say, it is a good looking Alan Scott figure. The detail, very clean, plain looking, but like I said, the paint though, the paint job on this, it looks really nice. The two-tone paint, purple and green inside, same thing here. The actual sculpture on the boot is actually painted as well too. And so, I gotta say, overall, the figure looks really, really nice. And I am glad I got this figure. It is a collector's edition, which I'll talk about in a few seconds. But overall, I really like this figure. But of course, the main question is it really worth it? Should he go out and get this figure? Well, this figure does cost $30. And that's important because, unfortunately, the paint quality, it doesn't really feel extra. It really feels like a regular McFarlane figure. But for this particular figure, as I mentioned throughout the video, they added more paint. Inside the cape is green. The boots, the sculpture design, it is painted. So they did add extra paint to it and more paint on certain parts of the actual sculpture. And on top of that, you get a better looking card and the box itself. So, of course, is it worth the price of $30? So $30, I think $30 is a fair price for this particular figure because yes, the presentation is nice. You get a nicer looking card. You get a card holder. There is more paint to it. The extra paint is painted onto certain parts that are not painted in another figure. And so for the price you're paying for $30 for this particular figure from the collector's edition, I gotta say it's more of a fair price. I would probably wait for a sale because this is a common figure. I would say maybe wait for like $25. I think $25 is more of a better deal. And so with that said, what do I give Alan Scott, my first collector's edition McFarlane figure? I give it a thumbs up. I like the figure overall. Pricing, it's questionable, but when you take into consideration everything, the extra paint, I gotta say for $30, I think $30 is a fair price. Here we have the gold label Dread Lantern figure next to the Alan Scott Collector's Edition figure. Now, as I mentioned throughout the whole video, this figure essentially is a repaint compared to the gold label Dread Lantern figure, the Walmart exclusive. Now, there are, of course, basically just a repaint. Obviously, the head sculpture is going to be different. Small, subtle differences. Obviously, the chest, you can see right there, is a little different, and also the gauntlets are a little different. But apart from that, though, it's going to be the same figure. Now, I'm bringing this up, I'm showing you these two figures because they're identical in a lot of places, but though, look at the paint job here, look at the boot. This has the same sculpture design in the boot, but this one's painted. Paint like this is extra work, so the manufacturing cost is extra. Look at the cape. The cape is just one solid paint. It's just purple throughout, right? This one, though, it has green inside the cape, and then the back is going to be purple. Again, more manufacturing costs. So for this particular figure, paying that extra money, I gotta say, you really see and notice it, and you appreciate it. And when you see this Dread Lantern next to this Alan Scott one, you start to appreciate and be like, okay, I can see where McFarlane is charging more for this particular figure. And for me, I think $30 is a fair price, like I said. Here we have the Yellow Lantern Batman, the Target exclusive figure next to the collector's edition Alan Scott. Really clean looking Batman. It's a previously sculpted figure, but it still looks good nonetheless. But it is heavy though. The cape is heavy. But you can really see here the difference in terms of the paint. I mean, this one is $22, I believe. That's what it costs. And so it's just mainly black with yellow. This one, just look at the extra paint. Look at the cape paint, the boot on there, like a little paint like that. I know it costs more, so you start to notice like, okay, I can see why McFarlane is charging a little bit more for this collector's edition figures, but for this particular figure, I think it's worth the $30 price. This one's $22 and it's a reuse. This one is $30, but there's more extra paint, so you do the math, which one's better. Here we have Kyle Renner, the Blue Lantern McFarlane Online Store exclusive figure next to Alan Scott. Similar to the Batman one, you can really see the difference in terms of, okay, which one costs more, because look at the color palette on here. You got purple, you got green, you got red, you got light green, darker green. Then you have a little bit of gold there, gold there. This one is just blue, black, a little bit of white. So if you compare these two, you can be like, yeah, I can see why this one is worth a lot more compared to this one. And you were to ask me which one do I prefer, definitely Alan Scott, man. For the extra $10 price for what you're getting compared to this one, easily worth more. Here we have the Batman Black Lantern next to Alan Scott. Really good sculpture design figure. The detail is really good. The face sculpture design, it is top notch. But the color palette is a little darker, similar to the comic. Over here, there is a complete opposite to where the sculpture design is more plain, but you get more color palette, more various colors, and more better paint. Or more paint, I should say, not better. So, you do the math. Which one do you prefer? More sculpture, less paint? Or more paint, less sculpture? Again, you choose which one do you prefer. And, of course, if you ask me which one do I prefer, Alan Scott, easily. Here we have another Walmart exclusive figure. This is going to be Parallax, and of course Alan Scott from the collector's edition. Now this is a tricky one because this one's $20. This one, of course, is $30. This one has more paint to it, but this one has better paint placed on the correct parts. If that makes sense. I mean, that nice shiny gray on there, it's perfectly added on here, right here on the shin, around his wrist, the shoulders, the chest, right? Very subtle, but it makes the figure pop. It really makes the figure pop. Then you got the sculpture design, the detail. For $20, it's a very solid figure. This one has more paint on it, but it is $10 more. So this one's a bit of a tricky one because on the one hand, this one is better, but you cost more. This one costs less, but it looks good for what it is and how it looks. And also, too, the hands are actually like that clear green, which, again, for $20, it looks really nice. But if you were to ask me which one do I prefer of these two, I would. Ooh, that's a tough one. But if I can only choose one, damn. If I can only choose one, I would say I'm going to go for the Alan Scott. Just because overall, when you look at this figure as a whole, it looks really good. Regardless of the price, though, it looks really good. I'm telling you, it looks good. This is one of those figures, if you get it, I'm telling you, you're going to really, really like it and appreciate it. So definitely get one. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys agree with me on this figure? Do you plan to purchase this figure? Leave it in the comment section below. As always, make sure you hit the subscribe button to know how to support channel, but to keep up to date on watch videos like this. This includes an overview of the Alan Scott, my first McFarlane Collector's Edition figure, and on to the next one.